Welcome to r/leopardsatemyface. I never thought leopards would eat my face, sobs woman who voted for the Leopards Eating People's Faces party. Revel in the Freudenschad anytime someone has a sad because they're suffering consequences from something they voted for or supported or wanted to impose on other people. Starting off with, you voted for Anna. No, I voted against an incompetent idiot and destructive policies. With definitely no projection there. But now, guys, we need to stop the consequences of my vote. I voted for Trump, however, the liquidation of public land flaunts the public trust. There are many problems with management of public lands, but they won't be solved by privatization. Protect your access to millions of acres of public lands, call your congressman now and speak out. Or else the wealthy land and financial interests will get control and you will be left without access to a resource of inestimable value. The rich want your public lands, don't let it happen. Make the call, make them listen. So you're against the rich doing this, but you voted for the multi-billionaire. You're so smart, bro. I wish I was you. Because the Conservatives definitely didn't do this. Mark Carney won this election in the most disgusting way imaginable. Scaring your citizens into voting for you is not what a real leader does. A leader inspires his people and fights to improve his country, not fight to hold on to power. This is how I know Carney won't last long. MAGA can't help but project. Scaring your citizens into voting for you is exactly what Trump did. The new conservative social media strategy is just to tell people what conservatives do, but blame other people for it. I don't know why people are falling for this, but they sure are. It's because, and I need you to bear with me here, people are really fucking stupid. In particular, conservative supporters who fall for the rhetoric hook, line and sinker. You can't have due process for 11 million people. Can you give a single example of a citizen being deported, other than minors whose parents are illegal? You're saying, do you have an example besides the really ghoulish ones? Mike, we welcome you to the find out phase of your fuck around and find out journey. Harris hadn't been elected and she's breaking FCC laws already. What a loser. Hopefully for the next 4 years, actual lawbreakers will be prosecuted, unlike the last 3.5 years. And 5 months later, I'm starting to regret my vote for Mr. Trump. We applied to get our daughter to get her into the United States the legal way. It's been 8 years and finally you have an appointment for interview in 2025. Now, Trump is changing it to 15 years? Another 7 years. I thought GOP was for legal immigration. Now I just find out it's another Trump lie. Oh, another one, huh? So you knew he was lying before, so why did you vote for him, huh? Just another Trump lie. It sounds like this professional codpiece knew Trump was a liar and still voted for the piece of shit. That's what it sounds like. They all know he's full of shit, but since they're just as hateful as he is, they assume only their enemies will suffer his wrath. Typical short-sightedness of the Republican voters. You see, Trump wants to punish everyone for denying him godhood in 2020. This is not talked about enough. People don't understand what 2020 did to that man's psyche. America rejected him, and he's out for revenge. America needed to let the first president become a Supermax resident, along with a few of his cronies. So, hence, that's why we're here. Accepting gifts from foreign nations is never a good practice. It threatens intelligence and national security, especially when that nation supports a terrorist organization and allows those terrorist regimes to live on its soil. Regardless of how beautiful the plane may be, it opens a door and implies the president and the US can be bought. If this were Biden, we would be furious. So then, why did you endorse him? All Republicans speaking out about this 100% knew he would accept gifts from foreign nations. They did this. Isn't that plane meant to be transferred to, like, Trump's company or whatever when his presidency finishes? Like, I'm sorry bro, but I don't care what your incredibly biased Department of Justice has to say, but that's a bribe to me. They did this, and they're okay with it too. Their whole thing is performative outrage. It is all created based on polling data. She wants to be more important in the future. She is trying to position herself so she has the greatest chance of success. Most can see through the obvious pandering, but those that can't, that's her target voter. Honestly, it's difficult for me to agree with this 100%. Yeah, of course she wants to advance her political career, but Trump's death grip on the Republican Party is so extensive. At the moment, any criticism of the Manchurian cantaloupe can be likened to social suicide. MAGA voices turn on Trump over reported Qatari jet gift. That's not America first. Which, hey, I agree with, but how did you not expect this, voting one of the most corrupt and morally bankrupt people on the planet as your president? This is really going to be such a stain on the administration. You can't stain a trash pile, the whole thing is already a stain. But now it's a flying palace trash pile. This is the legacy that he wants. The Reagan Library has a commissioned 707 that served as Air Force One. Trump says that's made it very successful. He wants this plane so that his library will be a tourist destination, not the research center these libraries were meant to be. To be fair though, Trump has never needed a library or research. He is a vapid person with a education and 34 felony convictions. He is not like normal people. Oh, he just doesn't want to show it off to the public. I mean, sure, some adulation might help. He's fully scheming for it to be his jet to fly around in after. If, of course, he leaves office. The Trump Library, a non-profit corporation funded by public money and donations from his biggest bribers, donators, will pay to own and maintain it, and he'll just constantly borrow it for continual, very necessary trips to various golf courses. And hey dear viewer, if you don't accept $400 million private jets from the Qatari government, you should totally press the subscribe button. Because according to YouTube statistics, most of you guys aren't. So if you want to support this gay guy reading stuff, you should press that button. Woman angry when Trump followed through on one of the main things he campaigned on. I'm changing my voter registration. I will never show as a Republican again. I'm ashamed. I voted for Trump, and it cost me immensely. A post by a MAGA supporter who said their child's father was deported under Trump's policies is going viral. Oh no, you voted for the Deport Everyone and Violate Human Rights party and they're deporting everyone and violating human rights. Who could have seen this coming? I love how stories like these are just now going viral. Meanwhile, anyone with a fucking brain knew this was going to happen per Project 2025. I'll hold a grudge against these people for the next 40 years. The fucking arrogance these fuckers displayed last year was insufferable. Also, not showing Republican isn't actually good enough. If they don't say, I should have voted for Harris, they still don't understand the system we currently live in, and they can get fucked. Yep, as far as I'm concerned, anyone not willing to fully explain to me why voting Democrat is better than voting Republican is suspect, and will be treated the same as the most frothing MAGA Republican. I don't personally like the philosophy of, if you're not with me, then you're against me, but that's what fascism is. The second fascists took power in America, that became the state of American politics. Whether anyone likes it or not, if you are not with us in resisting them, then you're with them in oppressing us. There's no middle ground here. She voted for Trump, and Trump's taking away her healthcare. I voted for Trump, and now regret it. Groceries are not going down, and he's talking about cutting my medical insurance unless we work 80 hours a month. I honestly worked 3 jobs raising my first son, and worked at least full-time with my second. Now, unfortunately, I'm disabled with neuropathy and dead bone in my left leg. He's trying to get rid of our insurance when I can't even walk down the hill to catch a bus. Bullshit. I know some people take advantage, but I'm not one of them. Also, I did not vote for Elon Musk either to make any decisions for our United States. I know some people take advantage, but I'm not one of them. And this kind of thinking is what got you and us into this situation, Mary. You're too busy focusing on people who abuse the system rather than making sure the system will be there in the future when you need it. Fuck off. That's the crazy thing about it. Fraud and abuse is a tiny part of the overall cost. They probably spend more trying to root it out than they save by finding it. Florida tried this a few years back with requiring drug tests for people collecting benefits in an effort to get freeloaders off the system. It cost them millions of dollars to run the program, and they found like 0.1% of people were failing the tests, saving them a few $1,000s a year. You mean the millions of dollars where at least some of it went to Florida Senator Rick Scott's wife's company? It wouldn't be a Florida program without some rampant corruption that no one will do anything about now, would it? It's funny how even then he doesn't name drop Trump. Rule of law is endangered, Chief Justice says. Wow, no shit, Captain Obvious. Speaking at Georgetown Law, Chief Justice John Roberts announced ad hominem criticism of the judges. Oh please, you enabled this shit, you just can't flush it away now. Well, he's the Chief Justice of one of those last checks and balances against totalitarian dictators, so he kinda can at least help it flush away. You're not wrong though, he's been at the helm of this dumpster fire on the River Shin. You also have to remember that none of what he was going on was a problem for Chief Justice Roberts until someone started making noises about going after judges. It's always fine until it's me. These people are fucking heels. Every one of them is that World War II poem. Fascists don't keep friends. Ah, what's that? You feel betrayed? How about you think of all the other lives you helped ruin by voting for Trump? Cuban mother and Republican voter feels betrayed by Trump after her husband is deported in an Inter-Miami CF jersey, leaving her alone to take care for her paraplegic son and 3-year-old daughter, and struggling to keep her job without her husband's primary household income. Jesus fucking Christ, imagine having a disabled child and voting Republican, let alone Trump. What could have made her think that there would be positive outcomes, even ignoring the issue that she was married to an undocumented immigrant? I've noticed a surprising number of parents of physically disabled or developmentally challenged kids are Republicans, which is inexplicable to me. Like, they just take it for granted all of the policies, programs, and government support for your kid will always be there and you don't need to bother voting for it. This is because, in their mind, all these others are gaming the system. If they weren't, there would be more money in those that deserve it. Like them. Everyone I met who was gaming the disability system was Republican. Even Looney Luma is having second thoughts about this one. I love President Trump, I would take a bullet for him. But I have to call a spade a spade. We cannot accept a $400 million gift from jihadists in suits. The Qataris fund the same Iranian proxies in Hamas and Hezbollah who have murdered US service members. The same proxies have worked with the Mexican cartels to get jihadists across our border. This is really gonna be such a stain on the admin if this is true. And I say that as someone who would have taken a bullet for Trump. I'm so disappointed. Oh, Jesus. Emphasis on the loony. I would take a bullet for him. And this is why Trump keeps doing what he's doing. Because the cult would gladly die for Trump no matter what. Because they ignore all the bullshit he's doing because of this liberal tears. What a bunch of dumbasses. Yeah, that's cool and all, but she would not take a bullet for him. She's just a disgusting liar. She'd take a bullet like Trump would run into a school to stop a shooting. You could have stopped at run. Nah, because he would definitely run into a McDonald's. Guess it's time to boycott Cuts clothing. Dear President Trump, I'm the founder of a clothing brand called Cuts. We're a bootstrapped business that has been around for 8 years, and we're a true example of living the American dream. We've built this business to millions of dollars in revenue over the last 8 years. Had a tremendous amount of success, provided jobs to hundreds of people, and I believe I'm an example of the prosperity possible in America. I voted for you in 2016, 2020, and 2024 because I believed in your vision for the country, and I still do. A bootstrapped business or a bootlicking business? However, the recent tariff changes are happening too quickly. Removing 321 de minimis at the same time as increasing tariffs on China from 25% to 145% will be the deaths of thousands of e-commerce companies just like Cuts Clothing. There are businesses that bootstrapped their way to success, created American jobs, and now they're enjoying the fruits of their hard work in this country. My request is that the removal of 321 and the China tariff increases be delayed with enough time for US companies to react, which for production businesses is at least 9 to 12 months. That time would allow us and companies like us to adjust, set up new manufacturing, and even pursue US production. That aligns with your vision. I humbly ask that you take this seriously. Every day this continues, more businesses will fail. Solving one issue but hurting the very people who voted for you is not the best outcome. Mr. President, we believe in you. And we know there are things you see that we cannot. I hope you can take this into consideration, so together we can make America great again. Oh jeez, the bootlicking here is insane. The groveling is so unattractive. Alongside the reflexive loyalty pledge, it's so pathetic. Reflexive loyalty pledge is so accurate with these people. I mean, that's MAGA all over. Look at me, I voted for you 3 times. Please take me seriously. It's also really sad because they always prioritize the reflexive loyalty pledge more than their actual problems. The prioritization of the loyalty pledge is the entire reason why Trump will never listen to their pleas for help, because he knows he still hasn't lost their support. But they're too stupid, racist, or bigoted to see that. The loyalty pledge is really so they don't get eaten alive by their fellow MAGA for daring to disagree even just a little bit with Trump. Hoping for some sympathy purchases from MAGA. What the fuck is a bootstrapped company? Likely he means he started from nothing. By the bootstraps. RFK attacked by the anti-vaxxers he empowered and nurtured because he's not anti-vax enough. You guys have heard my horrible Trump impression, but I still don't know how to do a horrible Kennedy impression. But hey, let's have another crack. Happy Mother's Day to all the incredible MAGA moms. Today we honor you, the powerful, nurturing, relentless force behind our families and communities. You carry generations on your shoulders with grace, courage, and unwavering love. You are the heart of this movement. In the comments, you should totally rate my Kennedy impression from a scale of 1 to 10. I'd like to know. You got this grift by throwing moms of vaccine-injured kids under the bus after climbing on their backs for 2 decades to sell your books and speaking engagements. Those moms put their trust in you, and you repay their trust and loyalty by shifting for the MMR, the very thing that injured so many of their children. And the source for that is Trust Me Bro, by praising Operation Warp Speed before Congress, by pivoting sharply to nutrition and environmental toxins, rather than what you know is harming the children, the vaccine, yeah, it's not, and refusing to call for the COVID jabs to be pulled, refusing to demand placebo testing for current, not just new, vaccines, and by working and praising those who pushed and recommended the lockdowns and COVID jab only a few years prior. Go ahead and get fucked. Karma will not be kind to you. So, vaccines are bad, but mumps, measles, and rubella are fine? Yeah, these folks are brain dead. I mean, to be fair, anti-vaxxers are basically the medical edition of flat earthers, so it's not a far stretch. I mean, the parents of the kid that died to measles claim the vaccine would have been worse? Brain dead doesn't even begin to explain it. I mean, there's dead, and then there's super dead. They obviously don't want their kid to be super dead. Most anti-vaccine people are eugenicists who believe autism is created by vaccines. So they actually just didn't want their kid to be autistic. Dead is the better choice according to them. I imagine the thinking goes a little something like, if their child dies, at least they get another opportunity to raise a perfect child to replace it. If, however, their child were to be autistic and live, that would take time and energy away from perfecting any future untainted children. Yes, but it's more like, the autistic child is a reminder that I and my genes are not perfect, and that causes me narcissistic injury. So instead, it's better that the imperfect child does not exist so that all my children are perfect showcases of my superior genetics. Mayoral race in Omaha. Here's some proof that Trump is now radioactive. The Omaha mayor is losing badly to her Democratic opponent and is criticizing Ewing for running ads that pair her with Trump, a fellow Republican she endorsed last year. Why is John Ewing trying to relate me to Donald Trump? Notice how few Republicans on Facebook post about supporting Trump, unlike 2017. By November 2026, Republicans running for office will be like Souther today, calling it unfair to point out that they endorsed Trump 3 times. We have to remember who sided with Trump. They have to be held accountable. Too often we allow politicians or celebrities to get a redemption story or arc. They knew what they were doing backing the felon-in-chief's regime of oligarchs. They knew and did nothing or supported it. Keep in mind, supported it because they thought they would be in on it, instead of victims of it. This should always be linked to them every time they are discussed in the media. Inglourious Bastards apparently outlines a pretty decent technique for dealing with this. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts enabled Trump, but now he hopes to restrain him? Yeah, good fucking luck. Chief Justice Roberts pushed for quick immunity ruling in Trump's favor. Chief Justice reportedly took unusually active role in 3 recent Supreme Court decisions centering on Trump. John Roberts Jr. used his position as the US Supreme Court's Chief Justice to urge his colleagues to rule quickly and in favor of Donald Trump ahead of the decision that granted him and other presidents immunity for official acts, according to a New York Times investigation published on Sunday. And now, a couple of months later, Chief Justice John Roberts defends independent judiciary as Trump officials criticize courts. Speaking in Buffalo, the Supreme Court Justice said judges sometimes have to check the excesses of the president and Congress. Sometimes? Nah, all the time. That's how you keep an administration accountable. Checks and balances are a thing for a reason, so do them. Fuck John Roberts. He had 2 chances to save us and the world from horrors of Trump 2.0, and instead, he anointed Trump king himself. He thinks he'll be at the top when Trump is done implementing fascism. However, instead, he'll be depowered, if not him or the court entirely dissolved politically, and put in the dustbin of history like all the judicial enablers of fascism. All I'm saying is history is a pretty underutilized topic in school. It's like none of them have ever read a history book. The gulags were full of people like them, and for good reason. The people most likely to be able to effectively resist are disappeared fairly early. Just like before them, they let their greed and or pride bling them of their terrible fame. I love that typo. And hey, that's a pretty funny term to coin.